So there's this story of a man who was stuck in a terrible flood. The waters were rising and rising, and finally he found himself on his roof. And it looked like there was nothing else to do but wait. All of a sudden, his neighbor comes by in a canoe and says, "Hey, get in the canoe." And the man says, "No, the Lord will provide." Just after the canoe, a Coast Guard boat comes up, really fast one. And the Coast Guard says, "Hey, get in, we'll bring you to safety." And the guy says, "Nope, the Lord will provide." Finally, a helicopter buzzes overhead and lets down a ladder, and they yell at him, "Come, we'll take you to safety, get on." And the man says, "No, the Lord will provide." Well, as you can imagine, this gentleman went on to his greater glory and met God at the pearly gates. And he said, "God, I have been a faithful person my whole life, and you didn't rescue me when I was in danger." And God went to his book and opened it up and says, "Well, let's see. Looks like I sent a canoe and a boat and a helicopter." That's an old joke, and you may have heard it before, but it illustrates something about faith, that you can be as faithful as you want, but we also need to recognize the blessings that come through the people around us. That's the part that really catches my attention. The story this week that takes us in the beginning of Abram's cycle is a fascinating one. God blesses Abram. It's this very big promise that this man with no children will have multitudes of offspring. Everyone will know his name. He's going to be famous, and he is going to have land. It's an incredible blessing. It's a blessing that I would love to have if I were in his shoes. But there's a really important piece of the blessing. God says, "I will bless you so that you will be a blessing." This is the thing about our gifts and our blessings that we receive in this life from God, is that they are never meant to stay in one place. Blessings function a little bit like water. If they stay still and don't move, they become stagnant, covered with mosquitoes, growing all kinds of algae. Blessings are like water. When they're healthiest, they're meant to flow from one place to another, to refresh and to nourish. This is an important lesson that I have learned over and over in my life. That each time I discovered a gift about myself, each time that I received a blessing, it came with the immediate command afterwards, "Now find out how to give it away." When God told me and put me in this beautiful congregation that I grew up in, St. John's in Oakland, it was a blessing. That church formed me and shaped me. And when I was an adult, God said, "Time to go off and to share that blessing," and called me to ministry. The flip side of this that we hear a lot in our culture is this prosperity gospel, that God blesses us, that God is supposed to bless us, and that if God is not currently blessing us in this moment, we just need to pray about it, and that eventually God will bless us. But it forgets that final part, that we are indeed blessed so that we can be a blessing to others. Every single person in this church has blessed St. Paul's in some way. Our annual Peddler's Fair is an all-hands-on-deck experience. Raise your hand if you've ever done anything to volunteer for the Peddlers Fair? Okay, I'm glad your hand's up, Jim. Members of this parish sometimes spend months in an office, but also spend hours on a hot street corner, blessing us with your time. Because you all give of your time to that Peddlers Fair, we are able to run an event that delights not just the people of Benicia, but the people who come from far away, people who look forward to this event every year. Because of you and your efforts and the gifts you give of your time and your talent, our vendors love the Peddlers Fair. It's my favorite thing to do that day is to go and to meet all the vendors, and they talk over and over about how friendly and well organized and fun the event is for them. You have blessed St. Paul's with the gifts of your time so that this community can be a blessing to our vendors, to the people of our city, and to those from afar. This summer, we're going to be receiving another incredible blessing. We are going to be restoring the interior of this church. New floor, new carpet, new lighting. It's an incredible blessing. This is a blessing that we have received because the Peddlers Fair is such a great event. The proceeds from that fair go to the management of our building, and the work that is happening this summer is the fruit of our labor as a community. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for that blessing. But that blessing is not going to stay here. We will be blessed with this incredible glow up so that we can be a blessing. And the time is now to start thinking about how St. Paul's can be a blessing to our neighbors. We do the community meal with our parish hall. We welcome 12-step groups into our undercroft. But how can this space be even more of a blessing than it already is? And I know that there's risk involved. Abram didn't just leave his home thinking that everything was going to be fine. He planned the trip. He got ready. The people who desperately needed Jesus' blessing, Jesus' healing, did the footwork and got ready for that blessing. It's going to be challenging. And I'm honestly a little bit nervous. Tomorrow they're going to come and rip up this carpet. God only knows what's underneath there. I'm wondering if we can still hold a successful VBS with no carpet. I'm hoping that we can move our worship outside into the glory of God's creation, but not confuse everybody to death. But this is the role of faith in our blessing. You all have worked to bless this congregation. Even more people have been working for months to line up our vendors, to get everything moved out of this church, to make it so that we can actually do this project together. It's an incredible labor of love, and it's not for us to keep. My prayer for all of us as we begin our summer worship, we come together at this 10 a.m. service, which will eventually move outside, is that we start to think about our blessings in the midst of the difficulties, in the midst of the discomfort of worshiping outside or worshiping with music that might be a little different, music that might not be your preference. That we see these challenges as blessings for us to pass on. So I invite you to this journey as a community this summer. As we receive blessings, let us remember always to pass those blessings on so that we can be there for other people. Amen.